but I never dreamed of being a journalist. I didn't know what a journalist was when I was a child. Somebody said that you could be a good journalist. I said, no way. I want to become a sailor because it was a very romantic view of sailor's profession. It's one of the hardest jobs, but it came from the books. I was born in northern Karelia, which is some of the remote places in Finland, close to Russian border, and my family was quite poor. My parents had been evacuated from the Karelia during the World War II, and we were quite poor, but also the others in the same village were quite poor, so it didn't matter that much. But anyways, I was quite curious. My nature was very curious. I was always asking. I learned to read when I was 5, and I got a card to the public library in the village, and I read books. I read and read and read, and that was the way how I enlarged my environment. I was in remote places like Tahiti or Nepal, everywhere, via the books. When I was studying the second year at the University of Helsinki, and was political history, I noticed an announcement in the newspaper that the School of Journalism is seeking applicants to the School of Journalism, and I thought that I'd never get there because I heard that it's very tough competition to get a place in that school. During my first summer in the Helsingin Sanomat, I was training in the sports department. And I loved that job because I was sports mad already from my beginning, and so that was something I really was interested in, and I think it is my dream newsroom, and then I was training there another summer, and when we got our permanent places, so it was number 1 on my wish list. So, but I didn't go there directly after the school. Slowly but surely I went to the sports redaction when one of the boys was moving to another newspaper. So, but then I had a feeling that now I'm there where I have belonged to be. My best friend in that department was a female sports journalist, and we were two first in Finland to be female sports journalist, and of course she supported me very, very heavily. But also the male colleagues, they had quite a welcoming attitude, and for them I was one of the boys. I think that was some kind of practical equality. But of course, the first 2 years they were just observing you. How can you manage it, and can you do the same thing? And then they noticed that I can, and so I got these very responsible jobs, riding track and field, which was number 1 summer sports in Finland, and then became ski sports, which is number 2. Some old sportsmen or sportswomen, it was a kind of surprise that there's someone female person coming and making interview or asking questions. But then they noticed, when they saw that these questions wasn't more stupid or more irrelevant than the questions coming from male colleagues, they were quite easy with it. But I think during my last years as a sports journalist, I heard that they even wished that I came and made interviews with them, because they felt more home or more easy with me than with the male colleagues. But I had a rule which I told to my younger colleagues, that if you like to be treated as equal, and if you want to get respect, so you have to know the sports, you have to work to get knowledge, you have to get information, you have to know the rules of sports, different arts of sports, and don't even think that you just come and go and ask whatever comes to your mind. That you have really to be quite ambitious if you want to cover a large field of sports. It was a domestic reporter for school and education. And that was very feminine, but it was one of the, I think, most difficult places because first I had to learn the language of the school administration. But it was very interesting because it was so challenging. And after that I went for a short period for the magazine called ET, which means it's a magazine for elderly people, retired people. I liked that because there was a very small newsroom or the desk, only 5 female journalists and a female editor-in-chief. I enjoyed that. And after that I was invited to be a director of Sanoma School of Journalism. And that was 2 years, and then I was invited to be an editor-in-chief for Helsingin Sanomat. And that was my career. Because that was something new in the news media. When we think about the periodical media and periodicals, so it's very normal that there are female editors-in-chief, but it wasn't any disrespect or disregard, but it was attitude was kind to keeping distance and just to actually to just look and see how they can behave, how they do things. So I think the idea there was that are they real professionals when they are female? Are they as good as men, or are they even better? It is there that you have to be little better to be equal, and that's the way it has been. Get you a good husband, and the husband who shares your vision of equality, and who also takes responsibility of the family life. If you have children, so that you have a husband who also takes care of children, and you can share the work, homework, and you can share your experiences, and you can share your love. You have to empower yourself, and you have to believe that you are as good as the others think you are, and you have to rely on your own capacity because you have it. And always trust to yourself, and never give up, and work hard, because to gain success is always a result of hard-working life or hard-working attitude.